Hey all, this is Aslam Khan here to do Cambridge OL past paper, Business Studies 7115 paper code, May June 2020. This paper is consisting of 80 marks. We have already explained on last video the question number 1. We are going to learn the question number 2 now. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can type on the comments column under this video. Let's move on to the question number 2. MLC makes motorcycles. The managing director has been analyzing MLC's cost. An extract of this information is shown in table 2.1. To reduce average cost, MLC plans to close its factory and relocate production to another country. Only 50 of the existing employees will be offered jobs at the new location. The trade union has been informed all the new employees will be given either on-the-job training or off-the-job training. This planned relocation will have an impact on MLC's income statement. So it's a very straightforward case study, not much harder. You can understand it's very straightforward. So let me move on. What you need to understand is what they are doing and what are they going to do on this case study. Now let me move on to the first part. MLC makes motorcycles. What does MLC makes? MLC is making motorcycle. Managing director has analyzed MLC's cost. It's good. He is knowing what is the cost of the business. An extract of this information is shown in 2.1. So this is the information that they are given. Total output units is 3,000. Total cost is 1,000 to 1,200,000. And number of employees in this company is 200. Right. So, but there's another problem on this question. To reduce average cost, MSC plans to close its factory and relocate production to another country. So, in order to reduce the cost, they are going to move from this country to another country. So, which is going to be a turnover of the country's move. But because they are moving, there are only 50 people are getting the job. Almost 150 people from this 200 is losing the job out of the market. Moving on to the next point, it says that the trade union has been informed. So, who is this trade union? Many people ask, what is this trade union? All the employees, new employees will be given either on-the-job training and off-the-job training. I'm going to explain this type of training in this question. This planned relocation will have an impact on MLC's income statement. So, let's see what might be the impact on MLC's income statement. So, number one, they are saying that define trade union. What is a trade union? Many people doesn't understand what is a trade union. Let me explain. A trade union is a organization which works for the employees side. It is a organization which is created by the employee itself. They appoint a leader to that organization. Whenever they have problem on their company, they will refer to this trade union, and trade union will go and speak behalf of this employee. So what employees need to do is they need to pay a subscription every month to keep their level of membership in trade union. So when they have problem, most probably when it comes to salary terms, this trade union will go towards employees company and they will argue, how can you do this to my employee? You need to pay him on time. How can you say that you can't pay him on time? You need to be able to help them. So this type of terms will be always gone through when it comes to trade union. So trade union is a institution which works behalf of the employee, and when in order to negotiate with the employee, so they work behalf of the employee to negotiate with the employee. So we say it as they do collective bargaining. You know what is collective bargaining, guys? It's about they speak to the company agreement, and they will inform the laborers of the trade union. I mean the employees of that company. Your salary has been granted, or they are not giving the salary, but I can get you if they send you out of the company. I can get you compensation. They'll give always some sort of solution when union is involving. Let us give the meaning to this trade union on this question. So what is trade union? Let me write the answer for this. An organization, you can write a definition which is much acceptable, right? I can give you a answer for this. I can give you an organization. Wait a second. An organization working for the employee welfare and, and who bargains, collectively bargains for rights of the employee. So this is trade union which we have written on the question. So now let me move on to the second question. It says you have another term you can also write in another way. I can give another way to write trade union. So you can also say in other terms, a trade union is a group of workers who join together to ensure their interests, rights to protect. Or if all the people get together to start protecting their rights, then of course you can appoint a person to look after yourself, to safeguard yourself from the company's moves. Then we say it as trade union. Then we are going to do the second question, calculation. What is the second calculation? When I erase it off, I might move on to the second part. Yeah. Calculate the average cost of one motorcycle. Calculate the average cost of one motorcycle. Show your working. So I'm going to show my working. How to calculate? It's very straightforward. How do you get average cost? To take the total cost divided by number of outputs. This is formula. You need to know this formula to do this. Average cost formula is total cost divided by number of uh, outputs. Okay, so this is how you get average cost. So total cost is how much? 1,200,000. You will divide it by number of output is 3,000. So you'll be able to get how much? 400 as the basic average cycle. So let's move on to the third part of this question. They're saying state four features of an income statement. What are the four features of an income statement? What can you see in an income statement? Most of the time you can see a sale, you can see a cost of sale, you can see gross profit, you can see expense, you can see profit. So these are the features of an income statement. So this is very straightforward question. You can write here. Number one is sales. You can consider it as a feature. Number two, cost of sales. Number three, we say it as gross profit. And number four, we can say it as expense. And number five, it can be net profit. Right? I hope you understood the third part. So we are moving on to the fourth question of this context. Let me move on. Explain two possible problems for MLC of relocating its operation to another country. We found on the case study already that when they are moving for another country, they're losing almost 150 staffs because they are having 50 employees here and 150 staffs are there. If they complain to trade union, sometimes they should pay compensation when they're moving. And second, we can consider that if they are moving for a new country, there will be no lot of new regulations in that country. Those regulations can limit the production of motorcycle, and also they need a huge space to produce motorcycle. It's not that easy. To finding a relocation space is very important to MLC when they move from one place to another. So these are the few facts you can conclude in question number 4. So problem number 1, I can give you redundancy of employees. What is redundancy? You are sending your employees out of your company saying that you're moving to another place. So we are really sorry. This redundancy doesn't happen because of the mistake of the employee. It happens because the employee has taken a decision to move away, or the employee has taken a decision to shut down the organization, or the employee has been bankrupt, something like that, which is not in the control of the employer. It goes on redundancy. So, but termination, redundancy, and retirement, or retiring from the company, these are all different terms, because redundancy is about the employer is sending the employee out of the company. Retirement is where when the employee is retiring after certain years of experience, he is taking his move from his company towards his for his leaving, for his time of space, to spend some time for his family, something like that. But termination is where when an employee does a mistake, employer take a rule. They take a charge on the employee. So this is what we say. This is what we say when it comes to termination. So termination is a employee's mistake. It's not a mistake by the employer. It's a mistake by the employee. If he doesn't come to work on time, if he doesn't do the work properly, if he doesn't achieve the targets, then of course he'll be terminated. Or even if his behaviors are out of the way the company has requested, then of course they will remove that person from the company. So let me move on to the point. Explain two possible problems for MSc of relocating its operation to another country. What might be the problem? Redundancy of employees. So what might be the explanation if the employees are informed as redundant? They will request compensation payment. You know what's compensation payment, guys? It's a payment which they ask. They can't move that soon because they need to find a company. They need some sort of payment, at least 2 months of salary. If you can give, I can find a job. So that's some sort of spare. They can ask the least resort. They can ask from the company to help them. So if the company doesn't give, they can make a trouble from trade union. So they will request a compensation payment. What's the company's name? MLC should be and also the redundancy payment is not allocated. Trade union will take this as a charge. So there will be a problem to the company's image because trade union can damage the company's reputation. They can take this problem in front of the company. They can strike in front of the company. So this will put the company's image down. So this will hardly and fully it will affect the company's reputation in terms. Then we move on to problem number 2. What is the problem number 2? It says that you can also say space. I'll go with rules and regulation, laws and regulation. So they are migrating to another country. So if MLC is going to another country, they might go through some sort of restrictions. They can't produce, and they need to follow a lot of. Yeah, I'll erase the second point, first point, and write the second one. Laws and regulations. So if they are moving to a different country, the country will have a lot of rules and ethics you need to follow in that country. So you need to, if you are producing motorcycle, the pollution level what you are going to put to outside the country will be tested by certain governments. Certain, taking the registration will become a bit limited. It's not very easy to set up a company. They will have a lot of procedures to do that. So these things will be a problem to MLC of relocation. So you can say it might be expensive. Might be expensive when finalizing the government procedures. What else we can say about this? Rules and regulations can limit regulation and limit the function of MLC, and MLC will should follow the ethics what the government has requested. As informed. So if they don't go as per the government's rules and regulation, then of course MLC will go through a hard time. It's very hard to set up in a new country, as you are thinking it's not easy to move on to another country and set up. And also if you are going to another country, you need to find a good employee base. They should be skilled like MLC's previous employee. If they are not skilled enough, then of course the company is going to face a lot of difficulties in future. So let me move on to the question number E now. I'll erase this off first of all. So moving on to the last question of this content, which is question number 2. Let me move on to the last part of this. It says, do you think on-the-job training is better than method of training for a manufacturing business to use than off-the-job training? Justify your answer. As I said on the previous question, never write no or yes on the first part of the question. Always write why off the job is better, why on the job is better, and you speak in both sides. Then you come to a conclusion that justification is saying that if manufacturing business is using different techniques, it will move on. Like if the company is using the same machinery, it's better you need to have on the job training. The company is bringing a new machinery, new skills are needed to operate that machine in the manufacturing business. And of course, on the job training, off the job training will be much better. So let's start with the explanation for this. Off the job training, you can write pros and cons as well when you're writing. You don't want to write specifically the pro, and after that you should not. It's not a must to write specifically the pro first, then after the con. You can write as you feel. On the job, off the job training is quite expensive, and the employee travel outside the organization to learn relevant skills. And you can also write skills which employee learns will be very productive to the company, and it will increase the productivity of the organization. So you write, this is about off-the-job training. Off-the-job training is where an employee goes outside the company. He starts learning what is better from outside the company. He's been sent by the company itself to learn something better to the company. So he learns those things, and he will ensure to bring those knowledge towards the company. So we'll write about off-the-job training, on-the-job training. On-the-job training is where employee has been recruited by an organization, but once the employee has been recruited, he's been trained by the previous employees. So, example, if I've been recruited to the company, they will not appoint me they'll appoint me a trainer. The trainer will do the work, and while he's working, I just need to see what he is doing, and I need to learn from him. But there are good things and the bad things from off the job on the job training. He might give you easy way of learning the things of the company. He will give you a brief introduction about the company. But the bad thing is, what might be the bad thing? He might give a training, but the training will give also bad morals of the company. He might do something bad. For example, he might use a Facebook when the employee is not there. So the same way of you will learn from that employee who is a previous employee, who is your senior. He'll be using Facebook when the employee is there. The moment the employer goes, he will start using his personal stuffs. When the employer is here, he might work in Excel. The moment the employer moves off, I mean his manager, he will start Facebook. So if you are going to be a part who is learning the same thing, the same morals from your senior, you will also do the same thing. Where what he has taught you, a bad negative vibe, a bad negative training which has given you, it will reduce the level of productivity of the company. But on one side, your work is going to be easy. You know what you need to do in a company, so you have a brief introduction, and the work will not stop because the employee, your senior employee is working. So the work is not stopped, but actually you are not doing anything. You are doing for the company. You are just seeing the work, but you don't produce anything at that time. So let me move on to on-the-job training. The good thing of on-the-job training, you can say, learning bad morals is a bad thing. We can write bad morals from the employee, senior employees, and what you can say, and this will, by leading this will reduce the productivity of the company. But on the other side, what's the good thing you can speak about? The work will become fast. The employee will learn the work very fast. will learn the work very fast, and this will give him confidence on working atmosphere. So this is about an employee who's working in a company. So he got a good atmosphere of work. Now he is very ready to work because he knows what is on the environment, the surrounding, how to get the work done, from whom to go. All these things will be taught on the job training. There's a third way of training. We say it as induction. You need to remember that third training is induction. What do you say? Induction. It's another type of training which the employer gives an introduction about all the things like the mission, vision, values, goals, objectives of the company, and also he takes from different places. He shows you who is the department manager, where to get the work done, how to speak with them. All these basic things he will teach in induction training. That's also a part of training. If you are super qualified employee, then of course you don't want on the job or off the job training. You can go to the process and start doing work. If I have given you induction training, so if you are an employee who needs a lot of training, it's better I put on the job or off the job training if I send you into the part of process. So moving on to the next, the last comment of this justification, you should say, you don't say yes or no. It's better say no, no, because you always need to give a reason. Because the techniques of training will differ based on the needs of the organization. How come it becomes the needs of the organization? You can say, if I'll take it a bit, I'll make it a bit long. Company. What is the company's name? Yeah, if company, let me consider as a company. If company uses new machine, new skills are required and to operate, where after job training will be much better. So the same way you can write for the other one. You can. This is a hint you can give the examiner. If he goes on the second way, what is the second way? If they use the same machine, it's better to go with what type of training on the job training. So that's all. Thank you guys.